Hello everyone, welcome to Solo Wolf's channel. Did you know that perfection itself can paralyze you? There's a saying, perfect is the enemy of good, and it perfectly describes how the fear of speaking perfect English prevents many people from speaking at all. Striving for flawless pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary may feel noble, but it often becomes a barrier to real conversations. Language isn't meant to be a test. It's a tool to connect, to share ideas, and to learn together. When we hold ourselves back because of imagined imperfections, we miss the chance to grow, to connect, and to be understood. And ironically, those who wait for perfection never get it, because speaking is the very path to improvement. The real danger isn't making mistakes, it's silence. In my experience with language learners, the biggest obstacle isn't knowledge, it's fear. A blog on language learning explains that perfectionism becomes the biggest psychological block for many speakers. They delay or avoid speaking entirely because they are waiting to get everything right. Another writer notes that perfectionism doesn't lead to learning, it leads to avoidance. You may have the word in your head, but if your confidence is shaky, they will stay there. Speaking rather than waiting fuels progress. Think of it like riding a bicycle. At first, you wobble, but every wobble teaches you balance. The same with English. Every wrong word is training for the next conversation. And once you stop obsessing over correctness, you discover that most listeners don't even notice tiny slips. They care more about your ideas than your syntax. Perfectionism doesn't just create fear, it drains the life out of communication. Language isn't a technical exam, it's human, flexible, forgiving. You are not building a rocket, you are just trying to be understood. Communication works even when it's imperfect. That's why in global business settings, intelligibility is far more valuable than flawless grammar or accent. Non-native speakers now form the majority of English users worldwide, and studies show that clarity and confidence matter more than sounding native. In fact, many business leaders say they prefer partners who speak clearly but simply rather than those who aim for sophistication but get lost in complexity. The same applies in everyday life. What people value most is whether you can make them understand your message. If you manage that, your English has already succeeded. I've seen this firsthand at international conferences where English is the only common language. Delegates come from dozens of countries with every possible accent, rhythm, and style. Sometimes we don't fully understand each other, but the conversations remain meaningful. I've also given lectures in Vietnam, where my students didn't know Cantonese and I didn't know Vietnamese. English was our bridge. Was it perfect? Not even close, but it was good enough to share ideas and move forward. That's the essence of language. It's not about perfection, it's about effectiveness. The real test of English is not can you speak without mistakes, but can you get things done? There are also practical tools to break through hesitation. One I like is Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. When you are nervous or an overthinking, count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and speak before your brain talks you out of it. This simple trick interrupts the cycle of doubt and gives you momentum. Each time you speak, even imperfectly, you strengthen the habit of confidence. Mistakes should be treated as milestones, not failures. Teachers often remind learners that mistakes are signs of progress, like footprints on a path. Without them, you are not moving at all. One coach explained that natural conversation rather than textbook drills is what builds fluency. Real communication with real people is the best training ground because it forces you to use English actively rather than just study it passively. Now, let's talk about accents. Strictly speaking, an accent is just a shared pattern of mispronunciation. But once enough people speak that way, it's recognized as legitimate. A dictionary may present standard pronunciation, but in reality, that's only a reference, not a law. English in Brussels sounds differently from English in Westminster, but neither is better. They are just variations. Linguists even use the term linguistic insecurity to describe the needless anxiety speakers feel about not sounding standard. The truth is, every accent is valid if it communicates. What really matters is clarity and respect. And respect means never mocking someone's accent. Unless you are a teacher, tutor, or close friend offering help, it's not polite to point out another person's pronunciation. Listening generously is more valuable than correcting pedantically. In the end, the message is simple. Good English is English that works. It doesn't need to be flawless, accent-free, or polished. It just needs to carry your ideas from your mind to another person's ears. And often, the quest, slips, and rhythm of imperfect English makes conversations more human, more memorable, and more engaging. Remember that English itself has grown precisely because it absorbed influences, borrowed words, and embraced imperfections. Its global reach today is proof that variety doesn't weaken our language. It strengthens it. So don't let fear of mistakes hold you back. Speak up, practice, connect, and let your English evolve through use. Because perfect English isn't necessary. Good English, the English that helps you connect, collaborate, and express yourself, is more than enough. Please like, subscribe, and share if you found this encouraging.